Welcome to another episode of Lo-Fi Finance, and today we are going to be talking about electric vehicles. Specifically, we are going to be talking about a couple companies that I think are really worth paying attention to, and we're also going to be talking about some of the difficulties that are faced by companies that manufacture electric vehicles. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not investing advice. This is just one guy's opinion. These are the things that I look at and that I consider when I'm putting my own money into that sector. So I hope you guys enjoy, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. So, when we're talking about electric vehicle companies, we need to make sure that we understand that we are talking about luxury brands. These are companies who can only sell their products to a very small group of people. Now, I know a lot of the excitement about electric vehicles is that one day this will become what everyone has. And sure, maybe. But right now, luxury cars only make up 5% of the US car market. And when you travel outside of the US, those numbers don't change a whole lot. So when we're talking about these companies, right now, it is a luxury brand selling a luxury item to wealthy consumers. So just remember that. And the reason you need to remember that when you're investing is because that luxury market is already pretty saturated. Not only do we have these new electric companies like Tesla, but there's also the old guard. There's the BMWs and the Mercedes-Benz and the Lexuses of the world too. Those established luxury brands really have an edge against newer companies because the newer companies have a lot less money to work with and they have to develop cheaper batteries so that they can sell to more people. They have to develop longer lasting vehicles. They have to develop products that are going to be competitive. And that leads us to supply chain management, which is one of the complications that we see with electric vehicles. One of the first and foremost complications that we see is with lithium. Lithium is required for all of the batteries, and it is in incredibly high demand. And with all things that have high demand, the price is going to go up unless something changes. And that might change, but it's not going to be overnight. And that leads us to another supply chain issue that we face with electric vehicles, which is computer chips. Computer chips are already in huge demand, such that Tesla actually had to stop production in one of their factories for about 3 weeks because they just didn't have enough computer chips to continue making their cars. That's a real concern, especially in a post-COVID-19 world where supply chain disruption like that can possibly become a new normal. We also have to look at things that are going to deal with the environment. There is a huge amount of strain that's going to be put on our power grid if everyone is using electric vehicles. More energy has to be produced. And let's also remember that even producing electric vehicles in the first place is significantly worse for the environment than producing, say, a hybrid car. So that's not to say that electric vehicles aren't an answer, but they're certainly not a one-size-fits-all answer, and these things need to be considered. None of this is to say that I am anti-electric vehicle. I own shares of Tesla, and I plan on continuing to invest in this particular sector. But as wise investors, we need to see through the hype. There is so much hype around electric vehicles, and it's a little undeserved. Sure, it's exciting, but there are some very real hurdles that these companies have to face and figure out before you're going to see an electric vehicle in almost every driveway of this country. That's just how it is. That said, it is still exciting, and there are several companies that I'm paying a lot of attention to, and these are the top 5. We're going to go into detail regarding each one. I'm going to talk about why I'm watching them. There are others out there, sure. I mean, this list could include, 15 different companies, but these are the ones that, in my opinion, are the most interesting. Not necessarily the best to invest in, but at least the most interesting. Some of you may have noticed the absence of Nikola, and I don't think we need to beat a dead horse. I'm not talking about them. So, of course, the first company on this list has to be Tesla. Tesla is just a cornerstone of research and development when it comes to the electric vehicle industry. They have been doing the highest quality and highest volume of development of any of the vehicle brands that are out there. They take risks, and I just don't see any of what they do stopping. I think that they're going to continue to innovate and develop new things. I think that they're really well positioned with the Model 3 to start selling to consumers that can afford a $30,000 car, but not a $90,000 car. And I think that the Tesla semi-truck is a really interesting development that I, for one, think is going to pick up speed. So I am a big believer in Tesla's longevity. So, next on the list is Ford. And I think that Ford is going to be one of the first companies that's going to start producing a meaningful amount of electric vehicles at an affordable price for most consumers. The reason that I think that is because they have the advantage of economies of scale, because they are a massive worldwide company that has expertise in supply chain management and expertise in developing vehicles, especially if you consider the fact that Ford has a pretty significant holding in Rivian, which is still private at the moment. But Ford has put a lot of money into their own research of electric vehicles, and I really think that they're going to become an industry leader in affordable electric vehicles that is going to be approachable for most consumers. So that brings us to Rivian, which, like I said, Ford has a pretty big holding in. So Rivian is a luxury brand. They're looking to tackle the same demographic that you see brands like Range Rover go after. They have a very similar aesthetic. They are definitely going for that high end, high spending consumer with their electric vehicles. So I think that they are definitely going to give Tesla a run for their money. And the fact that they have Ford's backing, I think is pretty significant. That's going to help them a lot with the development of their supply chains. That's going to help them a lot with getting their vehicles in the lots of dealerships. Also, Amazon has already ordered 100,000 delivery vans from them, and that is pretty significant. So now we're going to go to the other side of the world, and we're going to go to China, where NIO is currently producing their vehicles. So it's important to keep in mind that NIO has never actually been profitable. They lose money on every car that they sell, but that was Tesla for a little while. So personally, I'm not going to let that hold me back too much from investing in NIO, especially considering that the Chinese and just Asian markets in general are growing as the middle class there grows. And NIO has a fantastic home team advantage when it comes to developing cars in Asia. I really think that they are going to be the Tesla of China. And I think that they are going to have a pretty good chance at even spreading internationally and maybe seeing these cars in the United States. Even though Daimler, the parent company of Mercedes-Benz, is very far behind in their development of electric vehicles, they are kind of a staple of the luxury vehicle market. And while people like you and I might want a Tesla or may want a NIO because we really value what that company does or things about the car, most people who buy a Mercedes-Benz are buying it because it's a Mercedes. So if Mercedes can start outputting electric vehicles, they're going to start dominating the luxury electric vehicle market simply because they're Mercedes-Benz. And a lot of people are going to buy it simply for that reason. Again, none of what I have said is intended to make you think that you shouldn't invest in an electric vehicle company. Just make sure you understand that there are certain risks associated with doing so and that you might not see a return on your profit for a little bit of time. Also remember, there's going to be a lot of losers for every winner. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just news and information. But I really appreciate you guys. Please drop a like and a follow, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Thank you for watching.